So joining me today is therapist Suzanne Worrica. So welcome, Suzanne. You specialise in Gestalt therapies. What is it exactly and how do you use it?
Hello. Gestalt therapy, it's a really practical and dynamic approach to counselling and psychotherapy, and it's really about the present, shining a light for the client on what they're feeling right now in the moment in the therapy room. Because, for example, a client might bring in a story from their past, a traumatic incident that's happened to them, but they might not be talking with any emotion. So I might ask them, well, what's going on for you now? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? And in that way, by bringing out how they're feeling about it, they can learn to kind of tolerate that difficult trauma a little bit more. And Gestalt is also about dialoguing between the therapist and the client. So I'm not going to tell the client what to do or give them advice. It's about supporting the client to find their own self-responsibility and for them to make their own choices.
So Suzanne, can you tell us, what do you think is the main cause of anxiety?
Well, it might be useful to maybe talk about the symptoms, some of the symptoms that people experience, because although people experience anxiety in different ways, there are common symptoms like racing heart, shortness of breath, clamminess, sweatiness, and you might feel like you overthink things a lot, like you dwell on negative experiences too much. And I think factors contribute to how we experience anxiety. So, for example, if in your childhood you've had a domineering parents, today you might be feeling quite anxious about being in situations with people who you think might overpower you. And also daily lifestyle, your habits and how you live your life. Today's world, we're really, really busy and we work long hours, we work on social hours, that affects our family, and it all affects how you feel about yourself and what you worry about.
So another thing that you do is write for theatre. So how do you cope with the anxieties of seeing your production on stage?
That's an interesting question. I think the other part of anxiety is excitement, and I think these days, over time, I've kind of created a space where excitement can come in rather than the anxiety all the time. And I think it's about really wanting. So I really want my production to be a success. So rather than let the anxiety and the negative thoughts about judgment or fear of failure or humiliation, I'll turn it around and think, well, actually, I really want to do this. I really want to say what I have to say, engage with the audience, let them have fun. All of those things are a positive way of looking at it. And I mean, if the worst comes to the worst, I will do breathing exercises. So that is literally just spending a few moments taking long, slow, deep breaths, which is immediately calming, because I think a lot of us I don't think not that many people are aware that when we are anxious, we hold our breath here and it's constricted, and you tend to end up breathing in a shallow way. And when you release that, you have more air and you have more of a posture that you can bring to whatever it is you're doing. It's not just about, playwriting. I think my experience can obviously translate to other situations. And of course, you've got the joy of seeing your production on stage. It's about also letting go and knowing that the actors are going to be interpreting my piece, letting go of that control and knowing that when you see it, it's going to be magic.
Can you tell me, what tips do you have for us to decrease our needless worries?
Well, I think give ourselves a break, first of all, because I think when we are anxious, it can feed into more anxiety. So, give ourselves a break and understand that actually anxiety is a natural thing. It's a protective mechanism. So we don't need to see it as our enemy, but as a motivator. And it's also about learning to tolerate it rather than run away and avoid, which is the easiest thing to do. So we have to have courage. We have to have courage in facing what makes us anxious, and also to explore what is it that makes me anxious? Is it that I have a job interview tomorrow, in which case I know it's going to be over the day after tomorrow? Or is it more of a long-term problem like money worries? In which case, plan, turn to other people, ask for help. And I know it can be hard to ask for help because you don't want to burden your friends, but you can ask for help. And of course, if it's more of a long-term problem and a chronic problem, I think that's when you seek professional help, if that's what you need to do. But on a practical level, as I was saying, breathing is such a really good way of getting into your body. We don't often use our body as a resource, but breathing can really open up your breathing opens up your whole body and helps you to face things. Of course, there's also becoming absorbed in a creative pastime. Our lives are busy, but it's important to make time to do something different that takes you out of your thinking brain and into your creative brain. So it could be writing, it could be going swimming, or it could be reading a good book. Anything that takes you out of your cycle of thinking. So yeah, give ourselves a break, basically.
Thank you very much for coming on and sharing these lovely tips and experience with us. It's back to you in the studio.